Every time you react, you hand someone the remote control to your peace. Listen, folks, most men do not lose power in one big moment. They lose it in small pieces. A disrespectful message comes in, and they fire back. A woman pulls away, and they start explaining themselves. Someone questions their character, and they spend half the night trying to be understood by people who were never listening in the first place. That is how your energy gets stolen. Not by force, but by access. You think you are defending yourself. You think you are being clear. You think you are proving your value. But sometimes, my friend, all you are doing is showing the world exactly which buttons still control you. A Stoic man moves differently. He does not react to every insult. He does not explain to bad faith people. He does not give emotional access to those who only came to drain him. He protects his attention like gold because he understands that where his attention goes, his power follows. Today we are going to break down how silence, selective withdrawal, ignored bait, emotional indifference, and calculated inaction make a man harder to manipulate, harder to control, and impossible to shake. And pay close attention, because the final lesson will show you why doing nothing at the right time can be the strongest move you ever make. Let's get into it. Number 1. Guard your attention like gold. Let me tell you straight, folks, your attention is not cheap. It is not something every person deserves just because they demand it. Your attention is your energy, your focus, your emotional bandwidth, and your time. And once you give it away to the wrong person, you do not always get it back clean. Most men understand money. They will not throw cash out the window. They will not invest in a business that gives them nothing but losses. But they throw their attention at disrespect, drama, mixed signals, criticism, and emotional games like it costs nothing. Then they wonder why they feel drained, reactive, and powerless. My friend, attention is currency. Every reply is a payment. Every explanation is a payment. Every reaction is a payment. Every hour spent thinking about someone who brings chaos into your life is a payment. So the question is simple. What are you getting in return? Think about Richard, 56, from Dallas. He has been seeing Karen, 50, for a few months. Karen is attractive, sharp, and unpredictable. Some days she is warm. Other days she sends short, cold messages and leaves Richard wondering what he did wrong. In the beginning, Richard tries to fix everything. If she replies late, he sends another message. If she seems distant, he explains himself. If she makes a cutting comment, he tries to smooth it over with humor. He calls it patience. But really, he is spending attention like a broke man spending his last dollar. Karen learns something without either of them saying it out loud. She learns that her mood can control his focus. She learns that her distance can make him chase. She learns that his peace is available whenever she wants to disturb it. That is how power shifts. Now imagine Richard handles it differently. Karen sends a cold message designed to pull a reaction. He reads it once. He does not fire back. He does not explain. He does not spend the next 2 hours decoding her tone. He simply steps back and returns to his own life, work, training, dinner with a friend, a book, sleep. His attention does not automatically go where her chaos points. That is not weakness. That is discipline. A Stoic man understands that not every invitation deserves attendance. Not every insult deserves a defense. Not every emotional shift from a woman requires an investigation. Sometimes the most masculine thing you can do is refuse to donate your attention to confusion. Let us be honest, many people do not want answers. They want access. They want to see if they can still move you. They want to know if one sentence can pull you out of your center. And every time you react too quickly, you teach them that it can. Guarding your attention does not mean you become cold or unavailable to everyone. It means you become selective. The people who respect you get your presence. The people who bring peace, honesty, loyalty, and value get your energy. The people who only bring drama get distance. That is how a man protects his inner kingdom. So before you respond, ask yourself one question. Does this deserve my attention? If the answer is no, move on. No speech, no explanation, no emotional performance, just quiet self-control. Because the man who controls his attention controls his life. If this truth hits you, write this in the comments: I guard attention. Stay with me because the next part shows why silence can beat every comeback you attempted to give. Number 2. Silence beats every comeback. Listen closely, folks. The moment you feel the need to deliver the perfect comeback, you are already standing inside someone else's game. That is the trap. Someone insults you and your pride wakes up. Someone questions your character and your mouth starts preparing a defense. A woman sends a cold message and you want to explain why you deserve better. A critic takes a shot at you and you feel that heat rising in your chest. You tell yourself, I need to respond. I need to make them understand. I need to have the last word. No, my friend, you need to stay in control. A comeback may feel powerful for 5 seconds, but silence often carries more weight for days. When you respond to someone who is trying to provoke you, you confirm that they reached you. You confirm that their words mattered enough to pull you out of your center. You confirm that your peace can be accessed with the right insult, the right accusation, or the right emotional jab. That is not strength, that is exposure. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. That is the whole lesson right there. You cannot control who tries to disrespect you. You cannot control who misunderstands you. You cannot control who wants to bait you into a reaction. But you can control whether you give them proof that they still have power over your emotions. Silence is not surrender. Silence is refusal. It says, you do not get access to my energy. You do not get to drag me into your chaos. You do not get to turn my attention into your entertainment. You can speak, accuse, provoke, test, or criticize, but I decide whether your words deserve a response. That is masculine control. Most men speak too much because they are uncomfortable being misunderstood. They think every false story needs correction, every insult needs an answer, every emotional test needs an explanation. But here is the truth. Some people are not confused. They are committed to misunderstanding you. They are not asking because they want clarity. They are asking because they want access to your reaction. Do not give it to them. Epictetus taught that people are disturbed, not by things themselves, but by the judgments they form about them. If someone insults you and you accept their words as important, you suffer. If someone tries to provoke you and you judge their opinion as meaningless, the attack falls flat. Their words may arrive, but they do not enter. That is the armor silence gives you. And understand this clearly. Silence does not mean you never speak. A Stoic man is not passive. He speaks when speech has purpose. He sets boundaries when boundaries are needed. He corrects what must be corrected. But he does not waste words on people who only want to drain him. He does not argue with bad faith. He does not explain himself to someone who has already decided to twist the explanation. Your words gain power when you stop wasting them. If you speak every time you are triggered, your voice becomes cheap. If you answer every insult, your attention becomes predictable. But when you are selective, people learn that your silence means something. And when you finally do speak, your words land heavier because they are not thrown around like loose change. So the next time you want to fire back, pause, breathe. Ask yourself, will this response protect my peace or will it feed their access to me? If the answer is access, say nothing. Let silence carry the message. If you understand this, write this in the comments. I choose silence. Stay tuned because the next part shows how to withdraw without disappearing, so your presence becomes valuable instead of automatic. Number 3. Withdraw without disappearing. Here is where most men get it wrong, folks. They think withdrawal means vanishing completely, cutting everyone off, acting cold and becoming impossible to reach. That is not power, that is escape. Real power is learning how to withdraw without disappearing. It means you remain present enough to be respected, but not so available that your presence becomes ordinary. You do not run away from life. You simply stop giving unlimited access to your energy, your time, and your emotional response. This matters especially in relationships. When a man is always available, always answering, always adjusting, always proving, he slowly becomes predictable. And once he becomes predictable, people stop feeling the weight of his presence. They expect him. They assume he will be there. They treat his attention like a light switch they can turn on whenever they want. Think about Daniel, 53, from Tampa. He has been dating Michelle, 47, for several months. In the beginning, she loves how attentive he is. He answers quickly. He changes plans for her. He checks in every morning and every night. But over time, his attention starts feeling automatic. If Michelle takes hours to reply, Daniel still responds in seconds. If she cancels dinner, he immediately offers another night. If she becomes distant, he leans in harder. Michelle does not hate him for it, but she starts feeling that his presence has no edge, no mystery, no boundary, no weight. Then Daniel changes, not dramatically, not as a game. He simply restores balance. He stops answering every message immediately. He keeps his gym schedule. He stops canceling time with his friends. He still treats Michelle with respect, but his life no longer bends around every shift in her mood. Now Michelle feels something different, not panic, not punishment. She feels that Daniel has a center. She feels that his presence is chosen, not automatic. And that is where respect begins to return. That is strategic withdrawal done correctly. Let us be clear, my friend. This is not about hot and cold games. It is not about making someone anxious. It is not about acting unavailable just to create hunger. That is childish. A Stoic man does not withdraw to manipulate. He withdraws to protect his peace and preserve his value. The difference is intention. If you pull back to make her chase, you are still controlled by her reaction. If you pull back because your time, attention, and emotional energy need structure, you are acting from self-respect. That is the kind of withdrawal that changes everything. You can still be kind. You can still communicate. You can still show interest. But you stop making yourself endlessly accessible. You stop giving immediate attention to every shift, silence, complaint, or emotional test. You stop living like your job is to be available at all times. Because a man who is always available teaches others that his time has no cost. Withdraw without disappearing means you stay grounded in your own life. You show up when it matters. You speak when speech has value. You give attention when attention is earned. But you do not chase every opening. You do not fill every silence. You do not rush to repair every mood. This creates something powerful. People stop taking your presence for granted because they can feel that it is not guaranteed. They begin to understand that access to you is not automatic. It is earned through respect, honesty, and mutual effort. That is how a man becomes valuable without becoming cold. If this truth speaks to you, write this in the comments. I choose presence. Let us keep going, because the next part shows how to ignore the bait completely before it steals your peace. Number 4. Ignore the bait completely. Let me be very clear, folks. Not every message deserves an answer. Not every accusation deserves a defense. Not every sharp tone, cold reply, or disrespectful comment deserves your emotional reaction. Some things are not communication. They are bait. Bait is anything designed to pull you out of your center. It may come as an insult. It may come as sarcasm. It may come as a woman testing whether you will chase after she becomes cold. It may come as someone questioning your character in a way that makes your pride want to fight back. The form changes, but the purpose is the same. They want access to your reaction, and once they get your reaction, they get power. A man who cannot ignore bait becomes predictable. People learn what bothers him. They learn what makes him explain. They learn what makes him angry. They learn what makes him chase. And once they know your triggers, they can pull your strings whenever they want. That is why ignoring bait is not weakness. It is discipline. Marcus Aurelius said, If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. Think about that, my friend. The insult is not what controls you. Your judgment of the insult controls you. The cold message is not what breaks your peace. Your fear about what it means breaks your peace. When someone baits you, they are offering you a hook. You do not have to bite. Most men bite because they confuse reaction with strength. They think firing back proves they are not weak. They think defending themselves proves they have value. They think explaining their side proves they are mature. But if the other person is not acting in good faith, your explanation only feeds the game. You cannot clarify with someone committed to misunderstanding you. A Stoic man learns to recognize the difference between a real conversation and a trap. A real conversation has respect. It has curiosity. It has room for truth. A trap only wants your energy. It wants you emotional, defensive, and off balance. So when the bait appears, pause. Do not rush to answer. Do not write the long paragraph. Do not send the angry voice message. Do not try to prove you are right to someone who benefits from keeping you disturbed. Read it. Breathe. Ask yourself, does this deserve my peace? Most of the time the answer is no. And folks, if this kind of lesson is helping you become calmer, sharper, and harder to manipulate, consider joining as a channel member. Membership supports deeper Stoic relationship lessons for men who are serious about emotional control, masculine presence, and self-mastery. Ignoring bait does not mean you allow disrespect forever. It means you do not react from impulse. If a boundary must be set, set it once calmly. If distance is required, create it. If someone keeps testing you, remove access. But do not perform anger for people who are feeding on your instability. Your silence can say more than your defense ever could. It says, I saw what you tried to do, and I am not entering that game. It says my attention is not available for manipulation. It says you do not get to decide when I lose control. That is power. So from now on, when someone throws bait, let it fall to the ground. Let them wonder why it did not work. Let them sit with the silence they created. Meanwhile, you stay grounded, focused, and untouched. If this truth hits you, write this in the comments: I ignore bait. Stay with me, because the next part shows why feeding the unworthy is one of the fastest ways to drain your masculine energy. Number 5. Stop feeding the unworthy. Let us be honest, folks. Some people are not in your life to build with you. They are there to feed on your attention, your patience, your guilt, and your emotional reactions. And if you keep feeding them, do not be surprised when they keep coming back hungry. The unworthy are not always obvious enemies. Sometimes they are loud critics. Sometimes they are toxic exes. Sometimes they are people who disguise disrespect as honesty. Sometimes they are women who only show interest when they feel you pulling away. Sometimes they are friends who only call when their life is burning but disappear when you need strength, loyalty, or peace. The problem is not that these people exist. They will always exist. The problem is that too many men keep giving them access. Think about George, 59, from Cleveland. He has been divorced for 3 years and recently started seeing Paula, 52. Paula is charming when she wants to be. She knows how to pull him in, how to soften her voice, how to make him feel like he is the only man who understands her. But there is a pattern. She only calls when she is upset. She only wants long conversations when she needs emotional comfort. She cancels plans when something better comes up, then returns with a sweet message when she feels George becoming distant. At first, George tells himself he is being mature. He tells himself a strong man should be patient. So he listens, he answers, he rearranges his evenings, he keeps showing up. But over time, George notices something. He feels drained after every interaction. He gives calm, but receives chaos. He gives attention, but receives inconsistency. He gives presence, but receives access only when Paula needs something. That is, feeding the unworthy. And my friend, once you see it, you have to stop pretending it is love, loyalty, or compassion. It is not compassion to let someone keep draining you. It is not strength to keep rewarding people who treat your peace like a public resource. It is not masculine to be endlessly available to someone who does not respect the cost of your presence. A Stoic man does not hate these people. He simply stops feeding them. That is the difference. You do not need revenge. You do not need a speech. You do not need to expose them, humiliate them, or prove they were wrong. You simply remove the supply. No more instant replies. No more emotional rescuing. No more explaining your boundaries to someone who keeps stepping over them. No more giving your best energy to people who only return confusion. The unworthy survive on access. They need your response. They need your frustration. They need your guilt. They need you to keep opening the gate. So the strongest move is not to fight them. It is to close the gate. Now be careful here. Not everyone who disagrees with you is unworthy. Not everyone who criticizes you is toxic. A real man can hear truth without becoming defensive. But there is a clear difference between someone who challenges you to grow and someone who keeps taking from you without respect. One sharpens you, the other drains you. Learn the difference. The worthy bring honesty, peace, loyalty, accountability, and mutual respect. The unworthy bring cycles, excuses, drama, and emotional bills they expect you to pay. Stop confusing those two groups. From today forward, feed what strengthens you, starve what drains you. Give your attention to people who honor it. Remove access from people who abuse it. If this truth hits you, write this in the comments. I protect energy. Let us keep going because the next part shows how indifference becomes armor when the world keeps trying to control your emotions. Number 6. Build indifference as armor. Let me make this clear, folks. Indifference does not mean you feel nothing. It means not everything gets permission to affect you. That is the armor. Most men are easy to control because their triggers are sitting out in the open. Someone calls them weak and they explode. Someone misunderstands them and they spend hours explaining. A woman pulls back and they start chasing. A critic questions their value and they lose sleep trying to prove themselves. That is not strength, my friend. That is emotional slavery. If another person can change your state with one sentence, they have access to your nervous system. If one cold message can ruin your day, that person has too much power. If one disrespectful look makes you reactive, then your peace is not protected, it is exposed. A Stoic man builds armor by deciding what deserves emotional entry and what does not. He still cares about what matters. His purpose matters, his health matters, his family matters, his values matter, his word matters. But random disrespect, shallow criticism, emotional bait, and the opinions of people who have not earned his respect do not get to enter his center. Marcus Aurelius said, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it." That is the heart of indifference. The insult itself is not the master. Your interpretation gives it power. The silence itself is not the master. Your fear gives it meaning. The criticism itself is not the master. Your insecurity makes it feel like a threat. So the work is not to control everyone around you. The work is to stop letting everything around you control you. This starts with knowing your triggers. What makes you defensive? What makes you explain too much? What makes you chase? What makes you feel small? Maybe you cannot stand being ignored. Maybe you hate being misunderstood. Maybe rejection hits your pride so hard that you start acting like a man you do not respect. Good. Now you know where the cracks are. Do not shame yourself for having them. Strength begins with seeing clearly. But once you see the crack, you are responsible for repairing it. If being misunderstood triggers you, practice letting people misunderstand you. If disrespect triggers, you practice responding with distance instead of anger. If silence from a woman triggers, you practice returning to your own life instead of trying to force reassurance. That is how armor is built. Not in one heroic moment, in repeated moments where the old you would have reacted but the new you stays still. Epictetus taught that no man is free who is not master of himself. Think about that. You are not free if her mood decides your peace. You are not free if a stranger's comment decides your confidence. You are not free if someone's bait decides your behavior. Freedom begins when your inner state no longer belongs to whoever touched your wound first. Indifference as armor does not make you cruel. It makes you clean. You stop carrying every emotional burden people throw at you. You stop treating every opinion like a command. You stop letting chaos walk into your mind with dirty shoes. And here is what happens when this armor gets stronger. People feel the change. The same tactics no longer work. The same coldness no longer makes you chase. The same criticism no longer makes you explain. The same disrespect no longer makes you prove. You become harder to read, harder to shake, harder to manipulate. That is not because you became empty. It is because you became disciplined. So, build the armor. Guard the center. Let the noise pass without inviting it in. A man who cannot be moved by every outside force becomes powerful in a quiet way the world cannot ignore. If this truth speaks to you, write this in the comments. I remain unmoved. Stay with me because the next part shows why letting them chase closure can give you back the control you lost by explaining too much. Number 7. Let them chase closure. Here is a hard truth, folks. The more you explain yourself to people who came looking for your reaction, the more power you hand them. Some people do not want closure. They want access. They want another chance to pull words from you, emotion from you, defense from you. They want to know they can still make you open the door. And if you keep explaining, you keep proving that the door still works. This is why silence can feel so powerful. It denies them the one thing they are chasing. Not revenge, not cruelty, just access. Think about Frank, 57, from Phoenix. He had been seeing a woman named Denise, 52, for almost a year. The connection was strong at first. She liked his calm, he liked her warmth. But over time, Denise developed a pattern. Whenever Frank held a boundary, she would twist the conversation until he found himself explaining for an hour. If he said he needed a night to himself, she asked if he was losing interest. If he did not answer quickly, she asked why he was acting distant. If he refused to argue, she accused him of not caring. At first, Frank tried to clear everything up. He wrote long messages. He explained his intentions. He reassured her again and again. But nothing ever stayed solved. Every explanation created another question. Every answer opened another door. Frank thought he was creating peace, but really he was teaching Denise that pressure would get her more of him. Then one night she sent a sharp message after he calmly said he could not cancel plans with his brother. The old Frank would have defended himself. The old Frank would have written 5 paragraphs, but this time he read it, breathed, and replied once, "I already explained my position. I am not arguing about it tonight." Then he stopped. No second message. No emotional cleanup, no desperate attempt to make her approve of his boundary. That silence did something his explanations never did. It made the pattern stop feeding. Now listen carefully, my friend. Letting someone chase closure does not mean you become immature or cruel. It does not mean you ghost people who deserve honest communication. A man of character explains himself when there is respect, trust, and a real desire to understand. But when someone keeps demanding explanations only to keep you emotionally engaged, you have to stop paying that bill. Closure is not always something you owe. Sometimes closure is what people demand when they do not like your boundary. Sometimes closure is a disguise for control. Sometimes they are not confused at all. They just do not accept that you are no longer available for endless emotional labor. A Stoic man knows when speech has served its purpose. He says what needs to be said once, clearly and calmly. After that, he lets his behavior speak. He does not repeat himself until his words become cheap. He does not explain his standards to someone committed to stepping over them. This matters in attraction too. A woman will respect the man who can speak clearly and then stop. She may test, push, or ask again. But if you keep defending your position like you need permission to have it, your strength weakens. If you stay calm and let the silence stand, your boundary gains weight. So stop chasing closure with people who profit from your confusion. Say it once, say it clean. Then let them sit with the space your words left behind. If this truth hits you, write this in the comments: I close access. Stay tuned, because the next part shows how no reaction can win battles that words would only make worse. Number 8. Win through no reaction. Here is something most men learn too late, folks. Not every battle is won by stepping forward. Some battles are won by refusing to step down into the mud. That is the power of no reaction. Most people think strength means answering every attack, correcting every lie, defending every decision, and proving every critic wrong. But that is usually pride talking. Pride wants to be seen winning. Wisdom wants to keep its peace. And a Stoic man knows the difference. When someone tries to pull you into conflict, they are not always looking for truth. Many times they are looking for participation. They want you inside their emotional storm. They want you angry. They want you defensive. They want you explaining, sweating, reacting, and showing them exactly where they can reach you. But when you give no reaction, the game changes. You deny them the fight they were counting on. Marcus Aurelius said, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." That line carries weight here, my friend. If someone brings chaos, you do not have to bring chaos back. If someone lies, you do not have to destroy your peace chasing every ear they whispered into. If someone disrespects you, you do not have to lower yourself to their level just to prove you have strength. Real strength can stand still. No reaction is not passivity. Do not misunderstand this. A man with no reaction is not a man with no spine. He still has boundaries. He still takes action when action is necessary. He still leaves rooms where respect is absent. He still protects his name when it truly matters. But he does not react from impulse. He responds only when response serves a purpose. That is the difference between a controlled man and a triggered man. A triggered man is easy to move. Say the right thing and he explodes. Pull away and he chases. Accuse him and he over-explains. Ignore him and he spirals. He thinks he is fighting back, but really he is dancing to someone else's rhythm. A controlled man does not dance when someone else claps. He pauses. He observes. He asks, does this deserve action, or does this deserve silence? Will my reaction solve the problem, or will it feed the person trying to create it? Is this a real battle, or just bait dressed up as urgency? That pause is power. Epictetus taught that if someone provokes you, remember that your own judgment is what provokes you. In simple terms, the event touches you, but your interpretation moves you. If you see every insult as a threat, you will live in constant defense. If you see most insults as noise, you remain free. Freedom is what no reaction gives you. Think about rumors, criticism, emotional games, cold messages, or people trying to compete with you. The old version of you might have rushed to prove yourself. The new version does not. The new version keeps building, keeps training, keeps working, keeps living in a way that makes cheap attacks look small without you saying a word. Results have a way of answering people you should never waste breath on. That is why no reaction often wins better than reaction. Reaction gives the moment more life. No reaction lets the moment starve. Reaction says, you matter enough to disturb me. No reaction says, you are not important enough to move me. And folks, that kind of restraint is rare. It is rare in relationships, rare in business, rare in family conflict, rare in social media. Everyone wants to be heard. Everyone wants to fire back. Everyone wants the last word. But the man who can leave the last word sitting untouched becomes hard to control. So, practice this. The next time you feel the urge to react, do nothing for a moment. Breathe. Let the first wave pass. Do not answer from wounded pride. Do not type from anger. Do not explain from fear. When your nervous system settles, then decide, not before. Sometimes you will speak. Sometimes you will walk away. Sometimes you will take action quietly. And sometimes you will let silence do the work. That is how you win through no reaction. If this truth hits you, write this in the comments. I control response. Do not go anywhere, because the next part shows why protecting access to you makes your presence more valuable than any explanation ever could. Number 9. Protect access to you. Let us be clear, folks. Access to you should not be automatic. Your time, your attention, your emotional energy, your presence, your body, your loyalty, your calm, these are not public property. They are not there for anyone to use whenever they feel bored, lonely, angry, curious, or hungry for validation. A man who gives unlimited access teaches people that he has no gate. And if there is no gate, do not be surprised when people walk in and out of your life without respect. Think about Thomas, 58, from San Antonio. He has been seeing Rebecca, 51, for several months. At first, things feel good. She likes that he is steady. She likes that he listens. She likes that he answers quickly and makes time for her. But slowly, Rebecca starts treating his presence like something guaranteed. She calls late when she is upset, but ignores when her mood improves. She cancels plans, then expects him to be available the next day. She sends emotional messages when she wants comfort, but avoids real conversation when Thomas asks for clarity. For a while, Thomas keeps the door wide open. He tells himself, I am being patient. I am being a good man. I am showing her I care. But what he is really doing is lowering the value of his own access. Then one night, Rebecca cancels again, with no real explanation. The old Thomas would have said, it is okay, maybe tomorrow. But this time he stays calm and says, I understand. I am going to make other plans. We can talk when there is more consistency, no anger, no lecture, no begging, just a gate. That is what protecting access looks like, my friend. It does not mean you become cold. It does not mean you punish people with distance. It means you stop giving premium access to people who treat your presence casually. It means your life has structure. Your time has value. Your peace has a boundary. A Stoic man does not need to announce that he is valuable. He demonstrates it by what he allows and what he no longer allows. If someone respects his time, he gives time. If someone brings honesty, he gives honesty. If someone shows loyalty, he gives loyalty. But if someone brings chaos, games, disrespect, or inconsistency, he does not keep the door wide open just because he feels desire. That is where many men fail. They let attraction override standards. A woman is beautiful, so they tolerate confusion. She gives them a little warmth, so they ignore disrespect. She pulls away, then returns, and they immediately reopen the door because they are afraid of losing the chance. That is not masculine. That is hunger. Protecting access means you can want someone and still require respect. You can care about someone and still step back. You can feel the pull and still choose your peace. That is power. Because when people know your access is earned, they behave differently. They stop assuming. They stop treating your presence like background noise. They understand that if they want your time, they must bring something worthy to the table. So stop being open 24 hours a day to people who only visit when they need something. Stop giving emotional access to people who do not protect your peace. Stop confusing availability with love. A man with protected access becomes harder to use, harder to drain, and harder to take for granted. If this truth hit you, write this in the comments. I protect access. Stay with me, because the final part shows how to become untouchable within, so no one controls your peace again. Number 10. Become untouchable within. Now we bring the whole lesson together, folks. The goal is not to become cold, cruel, or unreachable. The goal is to become untouchable within. That means your peace no longer belongs to every person with an opinion. Your attention no longer belongs to every woman who becomes inconsistent. Your emotions no longer belong to every critic, every ex, every stranger, every manipulator, every person who knows how to press your old wounds. A weak man is controlled from the outside. Someone ignores him, and he spirals. Someone insults him, and he reacts. Someone misunderstands him, and he explains for hours. Someone pulls away, and he chases. He thinks he is responding to life, but really life is pulling him around by invisible strings. A Stoic man cuts those strings. He does not need the last word. He does not need to prove himself to people committed to misunderstanding him. He does not need to answer every message, every test, every cold tone, every accusation, every attempt to drag him into emotional mud. He has learned one of the hardest masculine lessons: not everything deserves access to his nervous system. That is what makes him powerful. Being untouchable within means you know what matters and what does not. Your purpose matters, your discipline matters, your family matters, your health matters, your values matter, your word matters. But the noise, the bait, the drama, the people who only appear when they want energy from you, they do not get a seat inside your mind. This is not arrogance. This is order. Most men live without inner order. Their day can be ruined by a text. Their confidence can be shaken by one woman's mood. Their peace can be stolen by one disrespectful comment. That is not freedom, my friend. That is emotional dependence. The untouchable man is different. He still feels, he still cares, he still loves, but he chooses what deserves his response. He can feel anger without obeying it. He can feel desire without being ruled by it. He can feel disappointment without turning it into begging. He can feel disrespect without exploding like a boy who has not mastered himself. That is maturity, and this is where everything we talked about becomes one path. Guard your attention. Use silence wisely. Withdraw without disappearing. Ignore the bait. Stop feeding the unworthy. Build indifference as armor. Let them chase closure. Win through no reaction. Protect access to you. All of it leads here, to a man who cannot be easily moved. Not because he is empty, because he is centered. Not because he hates people, because he values peace. Not because he avoids conflict, because he refuses useless conflict. Not because he is afraid to speak, because when he speaks, his words carry weight. So from this point forward, stop giving your power away in small pieces. Stop reacting just because someone wants proof they can move you. Stop explaining to people who enjoy misunderstanding you. Stop letting desire make you available to disrespect. Stop confusing emotional restraint with weakness. A calm man is not a weak man. A silent man is not a defeated man. A selective man is not a cold man. He is simply a man who has learned that his life becomes stronger when his energy has standards. That is the final shift. You do not need to control every person around you. You only need to stop letting them control what happens inside you. Once you master that, their games lose weight, their words lose grip, their silence loses power, their disrespect loses access. And when a man becomes untouchable within the world, can still test him, but it can no longer own him. So remember this, folks. The real power is not in reacting, explaining, or proving yourself to people who only want your energy. It is in guarding your attention, using silence with discipline, ignoring bait, protecting access to you, and staying centered when the world tries to pull you off balance. Today we broke down how a Stoic man becomes harder to manipulate, harder to drain, and impossible to control from the outside. If you want deeper lessons on emotional control, masculine presence boundaries, and Stoic self-mastery, consider joining as a channel member. Your support helps us create stronger content for men who are serious about becoming calm, respected, and untouchable within. And if this video gave you value, subscribe to the channel so you do not miss tomorrow's lesson. Thank you for watching, my friend. Stay sharp, stay grounded, and I will see you tomorrow.